Hello. Let's just check which microphone I'm using. I don't think it's using the right one. I think that's better. Yeah, there we go. That's using the right microphone now. Cool. Did I get it? I did! Damn flies. Okay. It's a little warm for this. So, where were we? So I was having to do a lot of bug fixing over the last couple days, and I finally managed to get the button inputs behaving properly, and we have some very basic collision detection where we're reading the state of the display and then basing our movement on that, which is good. What a week. So this is pretty nice. I mean, I suppose, yeah, I feel like doing a grid-based thing, so this is probably the easiest way to do it. And I can like rapidly push the button now, or I can hold it and it does the same thing. So I suppose I could reduce the time that it takes when you're holding to do stuff, but I think it's fine. Right. I suppose that what I want to start doing now, because all of this so far has been quite crude, because we're relying on the state of the Game Boy's video and display RAM, and we're storing stuff in a very brute force way in the OAM table, which is not great from a game architecture point of view. It would be better if we had like a proper game map and data section, and then rendered that result every frame. So I think that's the thing we're going to try and do today. Nope. Okay. So what we'll do is something like that. I don't need this right now. Let me think. So we have a display that is, I don't think that we're going to do scrolling, so everything's going to be on one screen. And at most, the display is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 12 by 18. 20 by 18, sorry. 20 by 18 tiles. But I suppose you could do this a couple different ways. If you wanted to store metadata about a thing, then you probably want between 1 nibble and 1 byte, maybe, between tiles. 1 byte per tile, which is what, like 320 tiles? How's my math? 360 tiles. Okay. Start for now. Like that. It's probably easier to assume that it's a single screen game and that we can then change the display in different maps later, maybe, if we want to. I suppose that if you wanted to do 10 by 9, because what might happen in the future is that we decide that we actually want to do 16 by 16 tiles rather than 8 by 8 tiles, which isn't a terrible idea. 360 divided by 4 is 90 bytes, which is smaller, so you might want that, maybe. But we'll assume that we're doing this way for now, just so that we have something reasonable. Map width db20. No. I guess that you do it like that to say I want 20 bytes like this. Now that would be ds like that. And then you could do height to be like that, and we'll say that it's 18 tiles. Very nice. So what we probably want is to, come on brain, we can do this. Let's sort of head back up here. I don't need this stuff. I've actually now got to get input type in things, and this one's already doing the same job, so I don't need 2 of those. This is what we ended up with for fetching the tile out of the tile map, which is kind of nice. We'll probably need to do a reverse version of this. that function will be out of date now. Like that. Uses BC. Yeah, it ended up using everything, I think. But it worked. Whether it's good or not, I don't know. But I've got memset and memcopy. And then we got this stuff, which handles input. So that's all of this bit now. Because what we're doing now is that we basically get our vblank, we check it, we get the input, figure out if it's a thing we should be doing something about, for the directions, at least. And then if we are, we figure out where we're going by taking a copy. Like that. So it basically processes your inputs and then checks your final destination here. And then if it's an acceptable thing, we actually confirm it. And if not, then we just don't do anything. But that means then, but we will probably start doing a render display here. I think that's reasonable. So we can read the tile map and update the tiles as necessary, in case you wanted to make changes during the gameplay. Call update tile map, maybe? I'm still figuring out my naming for things, which is not ideal, but at this point it doesn't care about your inputs or anything, which is kind of nice. So I suppose you could do update tile map, like that. So we want to be like load HL with map start. And then what we could do would be oh, hello there. how's it going? In like the really dumb, sort of simple way. Process. Oh, but if you wanted to make changes, it couldn't be in ROM, could it? It has to be in RAM. So this stuff's actually going to be, well, it's going to be both, isn't it? You're going to have to copy it from one to another. Because you need to load it off the cartridge, and then if you wanted to make changes at any point, it would need to then be in RAM. So I guess that's the best way to do that. It's really weird having to figure out where to store stuff and whether I've got space to store stuff. So because I've got the shadow OEM, shadow OEM is at C100, so no, I know. It's just helpful for me to figure out how much space I actually have to work with over here. Are you talking about this thing? Yeah, fair enough. It's just because I've currently got I've got a an OEM table of my own elsewhere. I was just worried about overrunning into it. I'm probably making like all the wrong moves. It's fine. Why is it defined as a constant? I do not have an answer to that. Just how I've seen it done in other tutorials and things. Okay. I have even looked at this, and I still... Okay, so I can... Yeah. Like that. Oh, right, you put the label there and then it moves around however you want it to. That makes sense. Yeah, yeah. So you could take that out and then. Yeah, I don't need that anymore. Right. I'm with you now. I'm with you. So basically, I can change this whenever, and it will just work everywhere else in the code base without any major problems, is what you're saying. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still putting the code together into a structure that sort of makes sense, but there's like so many different bits and pieces of tutorials and getting started info that I'm kind of pulling it together as I go. So it's important that the lower byte of the base address is 00. Is that that's for DMA, right? So because the DMA works on high. Yeah, cool. RQ. I'll explain RQ. Okay, go for it. Okay, yeah. Oh, right, we're reserving the correct space. Yeah. 40 by 16. Wait, is that right? No, it's a... Come on, brain. Yeah, that's 160 bytes, which makes sense. That's right, yeah. 4 bytes, 40 things, yeah. And the second colon ensures that it's visible to other invocations. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, we'll do it that way because that way I know exactly what I've done. I've been thinking about it that way so far. And 4 by 40. Yeah. Yeah. I know what I'm doing, I promise. Well, sort of. I make notes at least. When you say other invocations of RGB, you have me intrigued a bit. Size of, that's an interesting way of doing it, but I feel like that might be a bit too far to go. I'm okay with this level of constants at the moment. I hadn't seen the double colon thing before though, so that's new to me. Is there a way to just get the high byte of that address to put in here from this label so that I don't have to keep shuffling that around if anything changes? That's true. That's true. It does. I'm not hugely fond of the magic numbers, but still. Base address. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I see. That hints to it to actually shove it into the right sort of slot. Okay. Let's just give that a better name because that's what I'm calling it. Yeah. Nice. That also then makes it easier for it to just fit it into wherever it needs to go, yeah? Or wherever it can fit it, I suppose. Cool. It's tricky because I simultaneously know a lot of stuff and nothing at all. Yeah. So we need to make it so that we know how it's going to get to where it's going to be. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, so. Yeah. I guess you could... I suppose that the naive way, you'd just load it into a thing and then just chop off one of the bytes. Because you can load it into one of the wide registers and just yank out the bit you need, but then the routine might end up being longer than you need, so... Yeah. Oh, okay, but yeah, because we I suppose it's being done statically, right? So you can just do shadow like that. It's being done at yeah, because it's all happening at assembly time, so it actually knows what the high byte's going to be. We don't have to do it at runtime. Cool. I don't need that being like that. That's going to be RDMA now. Cool. Nice. I do love how linkers can do that. Yeah. It won't just break if I randomly move something around. Yeah. But I don't need to fix it anymore, right? So... no, you're welcome to bother me as much as you like. There you are. The thing to do when you know that you know nothing is to be receptive to good feedback. So... Yeah, I like Vim. It's a bit of a weird one. I started using it during my time at university because I saw all the lecturers using it, and I was like, "Hey, that looks cool. Let's do that." It seems sufficiently hackery, and so 6 years later, I'm still trying to become fluent. I'm not terrible. It's important, yeah. It's the same thing when you're in a job. Like you shouldn't be afraid to ask questions and things when you're new and stuff. So, and I'm coming into this kind of community, because game development is a community, which has already got a bunch of established knowledge and history. So might as well draw on that. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I hope it's going well. And that you're doing something interesting. That's important as well when you're on an internship. Is my makefile all right then? Well, if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth doing. At the moment, it's just one. One assembly file, and then I've got a graphics file, which is obviously being included. So I'm not expecting to do too much, but right now anyway. But eventually I'll get there. Yeah. I haven't got to the point where I feel comfortable keeping multiple files and putting things out, although we're probably almost at that point. I'm happy to sort of spend this stream making the dev environment a little bit nicer to myself for the future. Yeah, we're just jumping up and down. So it's all one ridiculous file right now. Oh yeah, I know that I know that having multiple files is an inevitability for my sanity, but when I haven't quite reached the threshold where I've hit my cognitive load yet, so it was fine in one file for me. But we're definitely getting there. I have a big thing about sort of not breaking things up until I need to. Drives some of my colleagues a bit crazy, but still. I remember there being, or reading a little bit about caveats for having multiple files, but I didn't look too much into it. So, simple solution which requires a bit of manual housekeeping and fully automated, but ridiculously complicated. All right. How bad is the ridiculously complicated automated approach? I have been looking at this repository a little bit. Come back to that. Let's get an idea of what you're up to in here. Okay, yeah, that's probably going to end up being more complicated than I want to deal with. Since I'm trying to show this from a slightly more from scratch point of view, I wouldn't want to just copy and paste this stuff blindly. I'd have to derive it, which would be kind of terrible. So That's true, I don't, but I also want to understand it. It's really bad, in my view, to rely on something you can't understand, because then if it does break, you're screwed. Especially at this sort of level. So I don't really like it. So, okay, let's go with the. And that's fine, so long as it's. I'm okay with hitting that level of automation when it's necessary, right? So if you don't need something that elaborate and that complicated, you shouldn't have to maintain it. So I don't get there until I need it, basically. And then you get there and you need it. It just sounds stupid to say twice, but there we are. Well, true. There's, yeah. You know what I mean, though. It's like, it's not like there's a point at which that level of automation is worthwhile versus the sort of it being okay to handle it yourself. And for projects of a certain size, you probably don't need or wouldn't benefit as much from that sort of thing. It's a yeah. That's I don't like to do yeah. It's that is exactly the thing I'm thinking about. You're right. I don't believe in over engineering. It's actually really good that I talk about this stuff. It's something I'm going to be talking about a little bit more in a couple of days, so it's good to get my thoughts out anyway. Right, let's go with this simple approach then. I do want to keep an eye on that repository though. That's good. If you've gotten to the point where that sort of thing is useful to you, then that's really good. But heck if you ever need to fix something. I'm always really suspicious of too much magic when it comes to that kind of thing. I don't know. Yeah, we'll get there. All in good time, you know? Like, I don't mind eventually deriving all of this stuff and then maybe switching to that version because it's pre-prepared and nicer, but that's fine then. I'm in no rush. Because I suppose that what you end up doing is basically, I don't know actually, how would you do multiple files in RGBS then? I do wish it was easier to say that. It's not like a name or a word, you know, so you kind of just splur it out. Yeah, that's probably a good thing to do. Let's go with the concrete version of this for now, and then I'll generalize it later. To be honest, yeah. What, are you planning to give this a real name? Good call. I suppose that you could. Is there a way of changing that so that you kind of compile it or assemble it separately and it just gets merged back in? Don't know. Because otherwise you kind of have to be really explicit about all your dependencies again, don't you? So. Yeah, that's true. It's just like you could have like a tiles.asm which literally just includes that in a section and then ties them together. So you could have like tiles.o, tiles.chur. I suppose so. It's more for generalizing this rule in the future, because then this is hard to generalize right now because this is a unique dependency. Fair enough. Okay. I trust you. This is not normally the way that I stream, but I'm all for it. It's a good time. I'm actually at the point where I want to do... That's better. You're not a fan of target? Automatic variables. Ugh. Makefile stuff does drive me a bit crazy. I use it about as little as I can to get what I want out of it, so... Oh yes, I am vaguely familiar with these. That's true. I'm just... Yeah, I use them, I use makefiles in a bit of a weird way generally, so it's not my standard fare, but I know what I'm aiming for most of the time. So, file name of the target of the rule. Yeah. In this case, I'm mostly just using this for the output at the end name. So, okay, that's handy to know. Because then you could basically do... Yeah. Does this line count as part of your recipe? I suppose that it does usually, doesn't it? So you'd be able to do... Fair enough, fair enough. Not ready for that yet. I was thinking about the $sign, it just mishit my keys. Gotta be careful about that. I changed to a new microphone very recently and I'm not used to it being here. So if I'm bumping it a bit much, I'm sorry about that. Okay. Like that. I see. How does it know to use that, though? Oh. That makes sense. So you keep that one, but then... you can use these in here. Okay, that's fine. That's true, so I can kind of drop... Well, it's not quite used in a single place because I am using it here as well. That should actually be like that, but still. Suppose so. There are some things I do enjoy. I was kind of expecting to use this makefile a few different times in different places, so I wanted it to be pretty easy to change the name of the project if I needed to. That's true as well. It's just strange to do it like that. But yeah, I'm a bit about things. It's good though. Yeah, I do not go for the extra tools on top of makefiles thing. No. I am very, very clear about that. I don't go more than one level of build tools up. Yeah, CMake and auto tools and whatever, I don't go near it. I'm sure that it's fine for some people, but it's just too much for me. I find it difficult to work with. That's fair. The only thing that I've considered using in the past is pre-make, which is quite nice because you can kind of specify things in Lua, which is much saner, more sane than other build tool languages. But it's still a faff to get up and running. And the documentation is shit, so. It's the thing, you know, sorry. Yeah, I don't swear that much, but the trying to figure out anything for pre-make was a pain. So, real pain. No, I try to keep it to just make if I can, just because it's easy. Indeed. Hey, you take your wins when you can, you know. Slightly terrible is better than that. I'm an optimist. I don't know, the thing is, most systems have make on them or can get make on them. The moment that you start relying on additional tooling to get yourself built, you are going to struggle. That's my view. So the game engine that I build more regularly outside of Game Boy stuff is called Dome, and I very clearly do not use anything more than make to get Dome built. So yeah, I have thoughts on that. Generally, it is the easiest thing, or it should be as easy as possible to get your thing built. with as little dependency as possible. So that's a big deal for me. So I don't use anything more than I have to. I mean, yeah. It is fair. It is fair, but I also find that CMake is a lot messier, generally. You end up having to do a lot more setup as part of building the thing to actually get it configured properly, and that can be very confusing. So, like every time I see someone use CMake, it's like clone the repository, log into the change into the repository, create a folder, go into the folder, call the configure script, and then do stuff. And it's like, wait, what? Why can't I just build it and do? It's... yeah. So unless they've changed any of that, I wouldn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. I mean, I'm not even that old, so... yeah, but that's still too many steps for me. You clone the repository for Dome, and you go make, and it builds it, and you're done. That's it. I want it to be one button push. Well, I mean, okay, so strictly speaking, I cheat a little bit. I have some bash scripts in there just to do a thing, but it's fine. Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that I try to keep it all in one repository. So you clone things, it then fetches the rest of its dependencies for you, and then it's all in tree. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, I have I have ridiculous thoughts about build systems. But this is fine. The thing about having an opinion is knowing when to let go of that opinion. So it's fine if things change and they improve stuff. So if CMake got easier to use, I might have a look at it. Yeah, I agree that there hasn't really been a truly functional build system at any point, as far as I can tell. Everything sucks. I'm with you on that one. So where are we going? Was there anything else that we wanted to do? Actually, no, we wanted to have it so that we could split this up into multiple files. Yeah. Right, so yeah, this can now go in here. That was a fun digression, by the way. I enjoyed that discussion. I know it's a bit of a weird thing to have a discussion like that, but still. And then that can actually be that now, right? Because it's the leftmost dependency on the chain. And I guess you could do the same thing here. Yeah. Although whether that's the right thing to do, I don't know. That's suspicious. Ooh, deeper rationale. Hit me. I cannot remember what comments are for makefiles. What the heck? Oh yeah, it's like Bash. Thank you. It's an interesting viewpoint. I mean, I guess I don't really have a strong opinion there about syntax for comments. I mean, hashes are aesthetically pleasing, so that's kind of fun. But beyond that, I've got nothing. See, the thing is that there's a significant difference between dollar $, and dollar less than. So I think that, yeah, this is definitely the right thing to choose from, because these are not interchangeable in my mind. Exactly. So this definitely doesn't work here, because then you can't have your additional dependencies. So I wouldn't have thought that would be the right thing to do. It was just whether or not being that magic about it was a thing. I suppose so, yes. If you only had the one, but in this case that's not true, so it doesn't work. This is the better thing in that case. I'm taking it backwards. It's a bit strange having a conversation like this because, like, I will say something and then I have to rewind the conversation to understand what you're referencing, which is a fun time. So. Oh, okay. It doesn't assemble more than one in one go. Oh, it's not like it's not something like GCC that feeds in lots of C files and does lots of things all at once. So you definitely don't want to try and feed it more than it can handle. No, that's true. Fair. Um, the programs one typically interacts with, GCC, Clang, CI, etc., are drivers. Interesting. Oh, I see what you mean. They orchestrate. Yeah, that's true, because GCC tends to call out to LD and whatever else to do its stuff. Obj. No, that's true. That is actually a thing that does sort of drive me crazy about the way that GCC and Clang work, especially when the ordering of arguments matters, because certain arguments don't work if they're in the wrong order, because they turn on and off different features and things. It's a pain in the ass. Yeah. That makes sense. We don't have a RGB CC to do all this stuff. I mean, it's logical, sure. It's just, it can be strange if you don't realize that's what it's doing. Dash I, though, yeah. Yeah, that's not really my complaint so much, but it's that things like, give me a good example. I don't know, it's not coming to me at the moment. I've definitely had things where you have to put certain dependency calls in the right part of the argument list that you're having, otherwise it just doesn't work. But yeah, that's that kind of thing. It's libraries and frameworks on macOS, I think, where it comes up a lot for me. But well, yeah, I know, right? I don't enjoy using OS X for things. I just have to, so I make the most of it by living in the terminal as much as I can. Yep, let's do it. How much further can we take this? Is it? Oh, I suppose if you were linking multiple object files here, you actually would want all of them, right? So yeah. Got it. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. We kind of inverted the problem from up here. Yeah. Future-proofing and better semantics, you're right. We're matching the expected input, for sure. Yeah. It's kind of, yeah. I see. I suppose it's me jumping the gun by doing all of it all at once and not waiting. I don't know. I got excited. Some of the things here, anyway. um, that's true. There's an interesting curve about that, I find, where you tend to be a beginner and you do the thing that makes it work, and then you gain some knowledge and you kind of do the thing that's harder but makes it right, and then as an expert you drop back down and you do the thing that makes it work. Although there's usually some nuance there, but that tends to be the curve. Dunning-Kruger. Maybe. It's actually not though. Like, obviously here I know for certain I do not know a lot about what I'm talking about around this stuff. So I'm definitely on the first half of that curve, the first third of that. But as a programmer generally, that's been my view, and growth has been kind of make the thing work and just forget about it, to now I know some stuff, let's try and do it properly, to let's try to make it work while doing it properly. There's sort of a, yeah. So it's, that yeah, I don't know. Brains are weird. Yay. Let's do it. Some generic rules. I wasn't thinking it. I wasn't thinking it. I think these are actually in the wrong order. Because... No, it's fine. It's fine. Ignore me. Ignore me. It does a tiny bit because make picks up the first thing as the default, but we've got the all in there, so it's fine. If I didn't have the rule in here for the all and I wanted this thing to be the final thing, then yeah. I know what I'm talking about, I promise. I'll snipe all day if I can. Oh no, this is fine. Because then it'll basically pick up all the things that have assembly in, match it to an out file, and then it'll just repeat that rule for everything. Kind of. And I guess you do the same thing here. If you can give me a good explanation, I will happily learn about percents, because I don't tend to use them. Fair enough. Cool. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, interesting. Right. That makes sense. Okay. No, I wasn't even going to touch that, don't worry. Mostly because I have no idea what it does. Not even seen that before in a Makefile, so I'm okay not going near it. Yeah. The question is that at the moment we're building whichever assembly files are present, right? But, well, we would be, but we've only got one actual prerequisite here. So I guess you might want to tell this to be like build whatever O files you can find or something. Not quite, but it's not quite like that. Makefiles are weird. Yeah, yeah. Which is actually not general enough because not everything is going to have this. But no, you're right. It's more a general thing that I'm thinking about. Okay. Right, so it says I want main.o, so it matches up to this thing because there's nothing else to match it. Okay, interesting. Right. Yeah. So I guess it picks it, but it has to resolve any prerequisites first. So it goes to check if the assembly files exist, if the tiles char thing exists, whatever. But if those happen to trigger other wildcard things, it would go and resolve those first, basically. Hmm. Right. Okay. So I guess we'd actually, what you're saying is basically do this as the backup. Because then if for whatever reason this isn't available, yeah. True. Maker's weird like that. Not like weird, but it has particularly obtuse error messages. Indeed. True. Some things are better than others, though. At least GCC will tell you where the problem is. Make doesn't even do that half the time. Yeah, true. It's a bit odd that you'd think that it would still be quite heavily used and improved upon, but I guess I'm not part of that community, so I don't know what they're up to, really. I just use the thing. Okay. I was thinking that having this rule like this, being generic, but still having this dependency is a bit odd, so... yeah, not generic enough. Yeah. Now we have some redundancy again. Okay. Yeah, it would be kind of nice if we could say that. I'm gonna, yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought we were gonna do. Tile structure, right, because then it basically goes, oh, yeah. Wait, hang on though, because doesn't it then, wouldn't it pick this over this though, if you did it like that? So, oh, I see, there's a, it has a specific concept for that, right. Right, because then I guess... yeah, I can't bother to scan through this stuff. That is a rabbit hole. Basically, the upshot is that you basically take that out, and it leaves you with that one, like that. Because there are no commands attached, it's not a recipe. Yeah, it's probably some underneath some really stupid name or something. I'm not going to scan for it right now, but I get the gist. It's basically like, okay, like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know if that makes it better or worse in my opinion, but okay. Ah, entirely on one page. Neat. All right then. Pardon me. Okay. Anyway, so we're into something a little bit more generic. Yeah. But I assume that there are still problems if you try and just arbitrarily link assembled object files together. So there'll probably be some practical things I have to keep in mind while working on multiple files. No? Only two. Well, that's something. Yeah, that's fine though. I'm okay with that because for the most part you should know that sort of thing, but I suppose if it will get annoying if you move things around. It's fine though. Yeah, I'm okay with that. As trade-offs go, that's not terrible. Oh, interesting. Can it do that? Nifty. That is actually pretty smart. If you can do it like that way. Yeah. I was just getting to that. That makes sense. That's pretty cool. But as I said, I don't need that yet. We'll get there. I can see the progression that you would make to get to that point. So that's nice. Okay. So that's the first thing, is manual housekeeping. What's the second thing? It's probably just like be careful how you arrange your sections. Because if you had the same section stuff happening in both files, I don't know. Nope. More possible quality of life improvements to your make file. Yeah, probably. Well, I'm not sure at the moment. I'm not quite at that point yet because I've only got the one project to work on. So perhaps another time we can cover that set of improvements. Is that something I'm likely to want to do? I don't feel like I'm going to be using other tools, you know? I suppose so, but... Yeah, okay. Strictly speaking, I do make stuff to be open source, so if people need to use their own tools to compile stuff, then that might be nice, but... Okay. Then there might be other reasons as well. That makes sense. Right, so I suppose what you mean is basically have some variables for the binaries, right? Yeah. Let's leave a note to do use variables for binaries. Right. Yeah. That's fine though. I'm not too worried about that. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Because you can specify the path and the individual tool names if they've been named something different or if you want to use something else. Nice. I see. And then your other stuff is mostly directory-based things and one or two other bits and pieces. Yeah. I've not got a robust directory structure at the moment because we've not really got enough files for that, so I'm not too concerned. Out of tree builds. Okay. Do you mean being able to build stuff from other... Right, okay. Yeah, I'm game, okay. I haven't actually got anywhere to put these things for defaults. Yeah. Poking holes and things, all right. I assume that these last two are dependencies and resources, but what qualifies under each? I suppose. So you've got depdir here and resdir here. So I'm assuming that's dependencies directory and resources. And I'm just trying to figure out what sort of files would be one but not the other. Like what do you consider to be resources versus dependencies? Oh, I see. Okay, so I don't need to do that one then. But res would be assets. Okay. Yeah, so I'm no stranger to doing that. Is that reasonable? I suppose, strictly speaking, this would be a... Alright. I assume binary is your output. Yeah. Oh, that's smart. I see. I'm not quite at the point where I need to deal with that, but... Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to need that trick right now, but it's good to know. Smart. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm happy doing that right now, so... I think that I've covered all of the bits I need. I guess that this doesn't automatically create folders for me, so I'll run into problems if I'm making files. All right. In which case, we'll have a source directory as well. Just keep it all neatly together. You sure? It's only marginally better, I suppose. Yeah. I suppose the source stuff is never really moving, so yeah. Yeah. Alright then. I have no objections to that, so long as there's a good reason for it. But if we're doing that, I have to actually make some of this stuff, so... Well, you say that. Occasionally you do want to move immovable things, and it makes it a little bit easier to do so. I did have to rearrange the structure of my game engine at one point, and it made it a bit easier to do that. Yeah. You do what you want for your project, right? So. Meh, it's too late now. Yeah. No, all the way around, all the way around. I know. I was actually thinking about it while I was writing it that you would probably complain that I did it that way. But I did it anyway. Interesting question. Where does the hardware ink file go? Is that considered a resource? Or is it source code? No, I'm pretty up on moving stuff around. Interesting. Okay, up to taste. Up to taste. Oh, I have a bad habit of running Dome, so let's do that. A bit better. Yeah. It is strictly speaking source code. Yeah. There you go. Source main. But now this has to change, right, to be include slash. There we go. And tiles dot now needs to be. Oh, that's tricky though. What? Actually, this is an important question. So, when you invoke, what I want to ask? How are paths resolved when you invoke RGB ASM? Because I've obviously just done this, which is actually probably wrong because it would be like that. Yeah, that's what I thought. So tiles.chur would then be res like that, right? It's not going to be file relative. Yeah. I suppose so. Where do you put assets that you're not? Are they? I suppose they would be in source as well, right? So I don't tend to structure my projects that way because I don't usually generate my assets. So this is a little bit topsy-turvy for me. But if it's a thing I'm doing often, it might be better to do it this way. So we'll set ourselves up for success and do it. All right, I see. I'm fond of that maxim. It's a nice idea. It's not quite how I do stuff, but yeah. Like that. Source main. So it'll be like that then. Okay. That will mess up my make file again because it's actually not here anymore. Because now we're explicitly doing that. And we don't have a special folder for that, so that's fine. But then this doesn't have any particular value to me right now either, so meh. I'm probably just going to get rid of it. I would argue as to whether or not my tiles are considered human readable, but there we are. Strictly speaking, I need some special tool to read it, but right. That's cool though. Yeah, I'm not currently building from PNGs, so I was going to do this pretty rough using graphics and tile editors and things, so yeah. Ooh, that's not good. No, I'm not using YY. But that's not good. I've definitely messed up something. I have this. GPT. I wanted something that it would be, yeah, well, I found it because I was interested in finding something terminal-based, because it's good for streaming to have it all in a window. No, well, actually, yeah. You can actually expand the space that you work in this editor. It's pretty nice. At least in theory. I haven't actually used this to make anything yet apart from this one tile. So, but it's fine. I wanted to be modifying the file directly rather than generating it out of an image editor. But to be honest, I don't really mind, so I might swap to something else if the tool chain appeals to me to do so. I have Sprite, so for now though, that's what I thought I'd use. I thought it'd be cute. I'm a big fan of Sprite. I use it for other stuff, but I have apparently broken other things, so I want to go try and fix that real quick. Yeah, I just wasn't actually finishing there, so that code had broken. So now we're back to where we were. Cool. Yeah, it's because I got interrupted by you telling me how to fix makefiles. So I just didn't end that function. So it's not even a loop going haywire. It was literally just continuing into junk code and then overwriting things. That's cool. At this point, I'm probably actually done for the day. There's not a ton I can really do in the next sort of 6 minutes or so. But, well, yeah, so because I'd left this out, we basically just hopped into here and started doing all of the mem sets and overwrote everything. That's basically what just happened. Yeah. I have memset and memcopy down here, which probably belong in a separate function, separate file, all things considered. But yeah, I'm certain that I can. Neither of these are amazing implementations. But if there's like, if you can give me the you're wrong. What am I wrong about? Slightly. Okay. It's actually a pain. I don't have the Twitch chat on my machine. I've got a separate. I've got my phone here to read the chat from. So for me to go and grab links is a little annoying, but it's fine. That one. I was also trying not to just flat out copy your code. Let's see then. So let's actually check the right function real quick here. So I think we're using slightly different registers for parameters here, right? So it might take me a little while to figure out what's different. Although I suppose you're only doing one loop, so... Whereas I've got this jump skip thing, which is a bit suspicious. Yeah, Well, that's the thing. I actually wrote memset first and then adapted. Fair enough. What's the wait for VRAM thing? Okay. I'm just trying to wrap my head around what's happening here. Fair enough. Oh, I see. You've got two versions here because you've got one where you've moved the thing over. And... All right. So that means I'm probably just accessing VRAM incorrectly then? I suppose so. I'm not always doing that. Well, no, that's the thing. I'm not going to be doing that forever. I only do that at the very beginning. I'm at least reading it at weird times, maybe. But maybe that's fine, and just writing to it is a problem. Yeah. Fair. Fair enough. Okay. So assuming I don't have to do that, this bit's all fine. Oh, focus on memcopy for now. Okay. I don't understand why you're doing the decrement increment trick here. Is it just to dodge this skip, basically? I feel like I'm doing something different though. Yeah, okay. I've actually flipped my use of HL and DE to you as well. That's awkward. Yes. I mean, if I need to change this up, I'm totally fine with that. I'm still trying to figure out which registers to use for what in the right places. It's a mess. It's I don't know. It's the thing. I'd like to do this right rather than easy. But I don't know. That's actually an incorrect comment now, so let's take that out. No, it's if you want to do so. You know, that's the thing. Conventions help, and if you're doing that early, then you learn it better. So. Okay. That makes sense. Actually, I think I knew that. D stands for destination. But the Game Boy isn't quite a straight Z80, is it? So. Oh, interesting. We don't have a bunch of the useful instructions that we would have had otherwise. Right, so I guess... Yeah. Increment B if C is non-zero. How does that happen? Oh, I see, right, because if C was 0, then the next thing to change would be a decrement for both, because you'd be subtracting from the full. Yeah, okay. I think that clicked. Because you have that, and if you did BC plus 1 while the C was 0, then yeah, you know, that makes sense. Okay, yeah. And that ends up being faster cycle-wise than doing the jump instruction, which means that you don't need this label anymore. You do that, you do that, you do that, you do that. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that makes sense. That register is used in the function of thus as the destination register. Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. If BC is equal to 0, right. This has never been a problem thus far. Well, that's good to know. And you can basically pull the same trick here then. That's true, although I'd argue that there are reasons why that could still happen, because you might not know that there is 0 bytes, but then maybe you should be checking that before you call rather than trusting the function to filter it for you. It's in a standard computing environment, you'd probably do that way around, but here you probably should know that beforehand, I suppose. It's also a bit of an inversion on your standard coding conventions, because in modern computing we tend to trust the callee to handle its conditions. but maybe not so much here, where we want to avoid calling stuff as much as possible in the first place. So that makes sense. All right, I'm on board. Yeah, so I suppose here it might make sense to do what you've done and actually flip my DE and HL just so that these two are consistent, but I don't feel strongly about it. Oh, that's true though, yeah. Does that happen often? Do you often do a mem set and then a mem copy? Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Like that. That's basically it, right, for changes. I literally just flip those two instructions around. I assume that's because these local ones don't apply after a standard label. Okay. Dash n bin. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah. So they are label specific for the local ones. Yeah. So it does end up being redundant. Yeah. I knew it was local, but I thought it was section local, not individual label local. Must have misread that when I was learning about it. I promise I did read it. I promise you I did read it. I just forgot. Or maybe I got confused and didn't want to... Because I use loop for my standard game loop here. So I probably just didn't want them to clash, but there we are. Oh my... Why does it do that now? It always seems to freeze on that one. Sorry, I have music playing. Okay. It's not actually 8-bit only music, but it's all chiptune. I assume that's a song recommendation. Since we're doing that kind of stream, why not? Mind is born. I have a yeah. Okay, we'll see how that goes. For obvious reasons, I can't play it on the stream, so I don't have my setup that way. But we'll see how it goes. That's cool. I never really got into demo scene stuff, but the things that people manage to do is always quite impressive. I had a thought, and it's escaping me now. Oh, no ops. I don't think that's correct because I have this flag, so I think I still need the no ops. That's true, but I don't like, for me to do that would require a bit of finagling that I don't want to do, so that are they not needed at all? I thought that you always had to have nops after a halt. Fair enough. So you're saying I can remove all of them, or just some of them? Okay. I have them in a couple places, so... I suppose that's true. It's just because of all the tutorials that I've read have said you should put an op after the halt, so I do. But that's suspicious, I suppose. Is that still okay with the -H option being there? Yes, please. I was starting to use that. I know that you were going to make the -H a default, maybe, so that's a thing, but... Yeah, there's not a single complete assembly tutorial for Game Boy at all, as far as I can tell. I did a lot of searching. So I would really like it if someone managed to. Right, I see. Why do I not have sound in here anymore? That's a shame. That loop was actually quite cool, by the way. Because I'm fairly sure this used to make noise. Well, that's actually a thing. So the reason I have a big 8-bit playlist is exactly for that reason. No, it's not my audio code. It's just the Nintendo boot ROM ping should play. I'm not hearing it. so I was a bit confused. I've not done any audio at all yet for the Game Boy. I'm a little bit scared about doing that. But yeah, so I listen to the chiptune stuff just because I really focus when I hear it. So it's nice for streaming and for work when I'm trying to do something in crunch mode. But YouTube is making it harder by freezing up my playlist. Ugh, that's a little annoying to open. I see. All right. It's fine. I got it. I have it. Don't worry. I do need to pull it out and grab those songs because every year a few more of them disappear off the list and I have no idea what they were. Especially because some of them aren't actually songs, they're like remixes of them and things, so it's a thing. Oops, sorry. Microphone again. Okay. Right. Yeah, it's a lot of songs. And that's why I like them. No lyrics or anything. I just like the pulse for them, I suppose. A lot of them are quite upbeat on my playlist, so it's very good to get excited about a thing that way. Yeah. Oh, please tell me that it does. Because that would be amazing if it actually loads things up properly. Let's try. Oh my god, it does. Oh my god, okay. Oh my god, that's a fantastic thing that I was complaining about last stream. It was like, why the hell can't I get my labels in here? Thank you so much. Oh, that's gonna make things easier. Because I was having to like break point and trace every single stream. Oop. I escaped. Yeah. Well, then we'll be good. That is so useful. What's in the map file? Okay. I'm still figuring out the debug features for Sameboy. And something I was hoping to find at some point was like a profiler, so I knew how long code took. I don't think that's the thing that it does, though. because I know that I'm going to run out of time to do things, and that'll be kind of nice. So some kind of profiler eventually might be good, but I'm not worried about it yet. Do I have to specify a file name? Probably. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, fair enough. Oh, I see. So it basically tells you where it's put all of the maps in memory. Oh, it's put all the sections in memory even. Wow. And variables. That's handy. That's really handy. If only we could get all of this into one tool. Okay. So that's been a good time. Okay. To be honest, I think that I am probably done for the evening. This has been a bit of a weird stream, but I've enjoyed it. We didn't quite get our code where we wanted it, but we did set ourselves up for the future, so that's been very helpful. I'm not sure when I'll be streaming next, actually. Things got a bit weird for me in the next couple of weeks, so we'll see. But I'd like to continue this on, so we'll see. Thank you so much for coming by, hanging out, interacting. Should be a good, yeah, good time. I've had a good time personally as well, so thank you. I'll catch you in the future. See you later.